Are you a business owner and a mom, or a business owner and someone who is taking care of a loved one? You're going to want to listen to this episode because I'm going to talk about how I kill myself trying to do both. Hello, lovely dynamic women, and welcome to the Dynamic Women podcast. I am Diane Rolston, your host. And today I'm going to talk about how I kill myself trying to be both a perfect parent or a great parent and a great business owner. Now, this line, I kill myself trying to do both, this came from, I watched Pink's Amazon Prime special about her going on tour and bringing her two kids with her. If you haven't seen it, it's a good one. Not just for the fact that you get to see Pink and her music and the kind of behind the scenes, but you see how she tries to be a normal parent in a life that's not normal. And even though I'll consider kind of my life is normal, right? I'm a working parent, but I have a business. It is hard, and people without children don't understand. Case in point, asked to be on the board for an organization I'm a part of. I just said I can't. I'm just too busy. I don't have the bandwidth to be able to do it. The reply I received was, everyone is busy. And I get that everyone is busy, but when you have children who you have to feed and drive places and help with homework and make sure they bathe or have hygiene, cut their nails, take them to the doctor, your time is not your own. So as I'm trying to build my business, I've got two children who are depending on me. That's why I stopped at two, because it's a lot. You know, it's one thing when you think of, okay, well, they're at school for most of the day, or they are at camps. Well, right now I'm dealing with kids being at home all the time because they don't want to go to camps, and it's the summertime. And so I'm trying to build my business, continue to build my business with kids at home. Now, I will say that I do have support, right? I have two virtual assistants, Christine and Carissa, who are absolutely amazing, who do so many things for me. And that's probably why I haven't completely lost it. And that's how my business does continue to move forward. But the reality is, you cannot be your ideal kind of parent or how you want to be as mom and be the ideal business owner. You can't have both at the exact same time. I know, they say, oh, you can't have everything and all this. But the fact is, you are pulled in two, possibly more major directions. Now, if you're caring for an aging parent or a loved one who needs your constant care and support, you are with them all the time, probably. You get maybe a little bit of respite, but it's the same situation. So I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of the job of the parents and then the job of the business owner and the struggles there. Maybe you can relate. I'd love to hear if you can relate. And I'm going to just share a little bit of the solutions that I've done to try and mitigate this a little bit. So when I heard Pink say, if she tries to be perfect at both, she'll kill herself trying, I completely related. Now, on the parent side, my background is in teaching, education, motivation, empowerment. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have the greatest children, and I'm going to organize crafts and personal development and teach them about having a business and all this. And to be honest, I'm surviving. I am surviving. My kids are fed. My kids go to school. My kids do some sports, and we do some fun things here and there. But my house is a mess. They don't always do what they're supposed to do. They're learning to talk back now. And I am having a hard time with it. So when I was just kind of a newer mom, my daughter at the time was about maybe 9 months or so. And so my daughter's the eldest. I have two now, they're 8 and 11. And so at the time I was building my business and I was a mom. And so I would be listening to books as I hiked with her. I would be or listening to podcasts I would have my computer open as I was nursing, trying to learn new things, trying to reply to emails, or on my phone replying to emails, posting on social, those sort of things, while I was also being a mom. Now, it worked it kind of worked. We did our best. I didn't have too high expectations for myself. It was just while she was sleeping, I would work the business. And when my husband was home, I would work the business. And I had coaching clients right through this. I think I took like 3 weeks off after she was born, which was basically Christmas and New Year's because she's a December baby. And one of these days I was nursing her because my husband wasn't home yet. And I thought, okay, I'll nurse her before my client call. And so I never booked clients until, unless I knew my husband would be home. Well, there was an accident on the highway and he was stuck. And I wasn't able to hear from him to know when he would be home. And so I thought, okay, he's just going to be an extra 5 minutes, no problem. And so I nursed her as much as I could. And then I put her in her crib, but she didn't want to be there. She actually didn't even want to nurse either. She was fine. She wasn't hungry. So I put her in her crib and she cried. She cried and she cried. And I thought, okay, well, my husband will be here and, her dad will be here in just a few minutes. It'll be okay. And I jumped on a call with my client. Wanting to be the perfect business owner, I didn't delay it. I started on time and I did my best at that point to focus on the client. But the truth is she kept crying and she kept crying. She kept crying. And my husband wasn't coming and I couldn't call him because I was with a client, until the point where I finished coaching the client. He still wasn't home. She still was crying. I run in there. She's red-faced. And in that moment, as she's screaming and I'm holding her and she's exhausted from crying for like an hour, I broke down. I started crying because I thought, wow, look at that. I chose my client. I chose my business. I chose looking like a great professional business owner rather than the honest truth of where I was at with I couldn't coach because no one was going to take care of my daughter. Now she was safe. She was in her crib. She was safe, but she didn't want to be alone and I left her alone. And so that reality really sunk in and I was hugging her and kissing her and saying, I will never do this to you again. And that's the reality of being a mom and a business owner, or even being a mom and a career woman and having other things that are happening, is you don't always get to be there and you have to make hard decisions. And that day I made a decision that I regret, but it was a really good learning opportunity for me. I thought, I'm never going to do this again, because in that exact moment, I was a crappy mom and I was a crappy business owner. And so kids need you way too much, right? I'm going to get to some solutions in a moment, but that was a really hard day for me. That was like a low. And, I've had other lows since then, but that's just the one I wanted to highlight today. Now, on the business owner side, I can remember meeting with my business advisor and I told her about how I'm watching all these other people get ahead and get opportunities and do more with their website or their social media or whatever it was. And I couldn't, and I wasn't. And I was like, why am I not reaching my goals? And why am I not doing this? And why am I not getting ahead? And then she said, well, Diane, can you count up like how many actual working hours do you have? And I counted them up and it was like 5 hours a day. That's all I had. So she said, so 5 hours times 5 days, that's only 25 hours. How are you going to build an empire and reach all of your goals on part-time hours? Yes. And maybe you're busy and maybe you have other things going on and you have to build your business in part-time hours. But do you have the same expectations of yourself? Because it is extremely hard doing it all yourself. At that time, I was doing it all myself, to do everything and get ahead at that speed when you only have those 25 hours to do it all. There is the idea of the 4-hour work week. And yes, I've been able to reduce my time so that, during the day, I go to Pilates, I go for a walk, I meet friends, I go have a massage, I take the day off. Those are all opportunities for me because I have support now. But the key thing is you will kill yourself trying to do both perfectly. So what do we do now with this? What do we do now? Well, a few options are, few phases you can go through, a few steps you can take, is to first look at the actual usable hours you have and think, okay, how many hours do I have to build this business? And when am I not going to be in the business? When are the hours I get to rest? I get to be with my family. I get to do other things. Because it's really hard to stay engaged with your family if you know you have work things to do. And if you're trying to do both at the same time. Now, when they were little, I could do that a little bit, but now they know you're on your computer. They know you're doing work. It's really obvious. So figure out how many usable hours do you have. Then write down the things that you need to get done. And who needs to be doing those? Are there things you can pass off? And if you're like, oh no, I need to write my own social media, do you? Because I don't. It all comes from my repurposing model that I have, right? The repurposing of video. So this episode, if you're listening on the podcast, is actually done in video and put on YouTube. It's also then put onto the podcast if you're watching this on YouTube. It's then made into a blog. It's also then made into my social posts and my newsletter, and everything is taken care of by this one piece of anchor content. If you're wanting that to happen, side note, your Content Made Easy program, we're still in pre-launch period. We still have some spots open at the special rate of $697 to get 4 weeks of content made every single month. We do it in-house. Me and my team manage the people that are working on it for you, and you get everything: carousels, stories. You get 7 posts to put out per day, plus 5 stories per week, or things that you can use in that capacity. So if you want to know about that, that'll be in the notes. You can check that out. Or if you have any questions, reach out. But having these things done for you, right? So write down everything and then see who's going to do it. And does it have to be you? I'm going to say no, it doesn't. It could be someone else. And if you don't know how to figure that out, it's okay. I can help you with that. We got that covered. We got the systems and processes, training videos, checklists, all the things that are needed. So passing it off to someone else is an amazing way to gain back some time and reduce some of your stress. Other things to bring in are what is what I call like the perfect balance for you right now. What do you need to be doing right now? What are the main goals that you need to work on, both in your family life and in your business? And set some goals for those pieces, then plugging in the tasks underneath them. Also setting boundaries around your work hours. When will you work? When will you not work? I always tell my clients and my VAs, I'm only a WhatsApp message away. Now that makes me very, very accessible, but I don't mind doing quick responses through WhatsApp and setting up a meeting date for another day. That works for me. But maybe you need boundaries more around your weekends, your evenings, just so you can rest. And the rest part is so important because those 2 pieces, your career, your business, and your kids, demand so much of your time, so much of your energy. And so if you don't already get to travel with work and have some time off, I suggest you take a night. Once a year, I usually take myself on an overnight trip to Whistler. It's about an hour and a half from me. So I'm sure you've got some place it's about an hour and a half from you that you can go for one night, show up, leave the house early on day 1, and then come back after bedtime on day 2. That's what I found works great for me. When I go to Whistler, it's going to the spa in the morning, then checking into my hotel, then just kind of have a leisurely evening, or maybe I feel excited to work on business strategy. And then the next morning, leisurely breakfast, wake up whenever I want, and then move into a hike, checking out the stores, and then a leisurely drive back. So that 48 hours is so rejuvenating and life-giving. And speaking of life giving, what other things are you doing to support your spiritual life? Is there prayer, journaling, meditation, going to church, or like, what is that piece for you? Because that could be the piece that your soul's missing that really would rejuvenate you. Now, I could continue on and on and on and talk about all the areas of life and all the things that you can do, but I hope from this, you even just get the idea that it is hard to have these two full-time responsibilities, and you're not expected to be perfect at both. You're not even expected to be perfect at one, and know that you will do some like crazy damage if you try to be perfect at both. I've been there. I've run myself into the ground, burnt the candle at both ends, and suffered for it, right? With postpartum depression, anxiety, different pieces coming in. So what I'm going to do moving forward and continue to do, which I hope you do as well, is give yourself some peace. Give yourself some grace. And let's look at who do you want to be in these two areas in the next 3 to 6 months and work towards that. Thank you for listening to the Dynamic Women podcast. If you have any ideas on topics you want me to cover, if you have any feedback on this episode or this whole show as a whole, please reach out to me, Diane@DianeRolston.com. Let me know, or write a review. And when you do, please send a screenshot of it with your mailing address to team@DianeRolston.com so we can send you a little something special in the mail as a thank you. If you haven't yet, join the Dynamic Women Facebook group, where I like to go live. I like to gift sessions for our top contributors. That's one-on-one coaching sessions with me, as well as just sharing thought-provoking comments and questions in there to move your life and business forward. Plus, there's a lot of cool people in there. So until next time, everyone, take care. Bye.